So clear with it, how the pollen pistil interaction happens and how it selects the correct type of pollen. That is, pistil can recognize the correct type of pollen, right? So after it selects the correct type of pollen, there occurs the formation of the pollen tube, right? And it reaches the ovule. So based on that, there are three ways. Either it may be a porogamy, chalosogamy, or mesogamy, and how the artificial hybridization is carried out. Clear with it? So the next is the double fertilization. So why it is called double fertilization? Because there occurs in two fertilization events, right? So how it is happening? After entering one of the synergids, so we saw that in majority of the angiosperms, so how the pollen tube enters the ovule, that is through the synergids, right? After entering one of the synergids, the pollen tube, it releases two male gametes into the cytoplasm of the synergids. So it releases its two male gametes. So how the male gametes are formed? It is formed by the division of the generative cell, right? So it releases the two male gametes into the cytoplasm of the synergid, right? So among the one male gamete, it moves towards the egg cell. So it fuses with the egg cell and fuses with its nuclei, and this process is called syngamy, and to form the zygote. And this syngamy is also called generative fertilization. This is also called generative fertilization. Okay. And the other male gamete, it moves towards the two polar nuclei. We saw the structure. I hope you're clear with the structure, right? In the middle, there will be two polar nuclei. And at one end, that is at the micropylar end, we'll have the synergids and the egg nucleus. So one male gamete, it fuses with the egg cell and to form the zygote. So it is called generative fertilization. The other male gamete, it moves towards the two polar nuclei that is present in the central cell, that is in the central large cell, and fuses with them to produce a triploid primary endosperm nucleus, which is also called PEN, that is primary endosperm nucleus. So we are calling it as triploid because the male gamete is a haploid and it fuses with the two polar nuclei. So that is N. One polar nuclei is one N and another polar nuclei is another N, another haploid, right? So to form a triploid structure, which is called the triploid primary endosperm nucleus, right? So as it involves the fusion of three haploid nuclei, it is called triple fusion. So this process is called triple fusion, and this is also called vegetative fertilization. Vegetative fertilization, right? Because here this fertilization, that is the egg with the male gamete, that leads to the formation of zygote. So it is a generative fertilization, and this is called the vegetative fertilization. Okay. So this double fertilization, actually, it was reported by the scientist, that is Navasan, in Fritillaria and Lilium, in plants, Fritillaria and Lilium. Okay, since two types of fusions, that is syngamy and triple fusion, it take place in the embryo sac. Even in the single embryo sac, two types of fertilizations are happening. So it is called double fertilization, and also it is a unique event in flowering plants, that is angiosperms. Only the angiosperms, they show this feature of double fertilization, right? So it is an important event. So it involves the two types of fusion. So it is clear, right? So how it is happening, and even some problems they may ask based on the haploid or the triploid or diploid nature of this. There is questions maybe with the calculations, the problems like. So you have to be clear with the which one is haploid and what are the cells which are diploid and which one is triploid. Okay, so here the triploid is only the endosperm. And the central cell after triple fusion. So after this fusion, it became the primary endosperm cell. So the cell is called primary endosperm cell and it develops into endosperm. So this is what is transformed into endosperm. So this is happening after fertilization, that is post-fertilization structure. And zygote, it develops into what? Embryo, right? And ovule, it forms the seed, and ovary, it forms the fruit. So all these are the post-fertilization events or the post-fertilization structures. So I hope you're clear with this, right, till now?